Once again, good afternoon everyone, and thank you very much for the hands-on session. So we're going to resume the next part of our program, but before we call our next speaker po, we will be awarding some prizes. Oh wait lang, parang busy pa lahat. Hello! Hello! Hi! Yes, are you ready to listen? Okay. Alright, so as mentioned, for those who posted the Google review, we will have a prize. Ayan, so for our prize, Miss Diane Montecillo, our Gender and Development Officer, I would like to call to the stage, together with our photographer, si Tita Jovi Magpantay. Yes! Surprise po kayo yung mga tao na mag-post ng 5-star Google review. So Miss Diane will be handing it over. Thank you very much po. Next po, nandito po si Miss Natalia Santos. Yan, di ba yung mga mabilis mag-post. Yeah, thank you very much po. We'd like to call si Miss Eva Villanueva. Ayan. Yung mga mabilis mag-post. Yan, may prize. Next, we also have Mr. Bob Magpantay. Ito po. Ayun po. Congratulations po. You also won another prize for posting po. Pwede i-share sa Christmas party niyo. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Some of them po, there's a subscription po. No, there's no payment.
Thank you very much. And our last winner for this round is Mr. Bill Berzosa. Ayan, si Tito Bill. No daw? Wave daw. Teka, refresh tayo, baka meron pa nag-post.
Sometimes it's like that.
Meron ba? Oh. Wave po.
Wala pa akong time picture.
I think with the hard process po.
Are you going to wave your prize today? You're gonna claim it. Ayan.
Okay.
Thank you very much po. Okay. Salamat po. Thank you very much po dito. So for the next part of our program, I know we're all very aware that there are so many scams happening here in our community. And so to teach us more about how to spot them, to know what are the red flags, what are the green flags, we'd like to call our guest speaker from the Alberta Securities Commission, Mr. Cal Campbell. A warm round of applause. So Mr. Campbell is a securities investigator. You can ask him your burning questions. So go ahead, Cal.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Unfortunately, I don't speak Tagalog, so this will all be in English. But I will do my best to, get every. Oh, we have an echo.
Echo.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. Top second from the left.
Isa pa lang speaker na. Mabuti nga tayo dahil alas 7.
Thank you very much. Perfect, thank you. Yeah, so once again, my name is Cal Campbell. I'm a securities investigator with the Alberta Securities Commission. Part of my job, the biggest part of my job is investigating and disrupting online fraud. And that involves a lot of cryptocurrency fraud, online scams, and things like that. So I was very grateful for the opportunity to come in and speak today to everyone and give a bit of an overview of what we do and some tips on how to stay safe online. Some of those tips have already been covered by that great presentation before, but I'll reiterate them anyways because it's helpful to reinforce these very critical rules and things you should follow. So again, why online safety matters for seniors. As kind of was spoken about in the previous presentation, the world is increasingly online. It's digital. Everything from government services, banking, to connecting with friends and family, all involves an element of being online. Every business, every organization has an app you have to download to sign up for using your email. There's QR codes everywhere. It's inescapable now, and so it's very important that any demographic, but particularly seniors that are getting online and navigating that very complex world, have some tips to keep them safe. The biggest part is that the internet and sort of the online world is what I call a low trust environment. It means that people can pretend to be anyone, anything, and they can misrepresent themselves, lure people in to do things they normally wouldn't do, all under the guise of anonymity. So, unsurprisingly, I came up with a bit of an acronym. I'm from the Alberta Securities Commission, the ASC, so I came up with an acronym of very straightforward rules and things to consider called ASC. So, in the context of my role, which involves securities investigation, which is stocks, cryptocurrency, investing in businesses and things like that, there's these three principal things you should consider before sending money or cryptocurrency or investing in anything. Ask yourself these simple questions. And it follows the pattern ASC, assess, secure, and communicate. So the A in ASC, assess, think before you respond, slow down. A lot of online scammers and fraud rely on creating an element of urgency. They want you to make decisions quickly. They want you to sign up quickly. It's the same thing that people that market products online do. There's always like, oh, this sale ends tonight, or 20% off if you order in the next 10 minutes. Well, that's a very well-established psychological tool to get you to act quickly and to stop you from slowing down and thinking, which is exactly what I want you to do. Slow down. Pause and think before responding to urgent messages or requests to avoid scams. Question the sender. A lot of online fraud and cryptocurrency scams, will come from people that may be misrepresenting themselves. They may be pretending to be family members. It may be a grandchild asking to send money. We see a lot of common schemes where, there's a grandchild or a child that says, hey, I've been arrested. I need $500 to get bail out of jail. Well, when you stop, slow down and think about it, and ask yourself, is this possibly an impersonation? And the one thing that I would recommend is always ask or make an inquiry about a question that only your grandchild would know. For example, where did you go on your last family vacation? Where do we like to go as a family to eat? When's my birthday? What's your middle name? Things that your average scammer who's trying to impersonate a friend or a family member might not know. And I think that's really important because it's a good way to establish that you are communicating with the person that you think you are communicating with. The next part is to check the details carefully. In the previous presentation, we talked a lot about clicking on links that you don't know, scanning QR codes that you don't know. Well, a lot of times, there's a thing called typo squatting, which is when websites are registered with an extra letter or a missing letter, like for example, Google with 3 O's instead of 2. Well, that could be a scam website. So whenever you click on a link or you see a link for something where someone says, hey, go to this website and sign up, always look at the spelling. Is there errors? Strange numbers that wouldn't appear like on a TD Bank website, for example, or unofficial email addresses. If someone from, the CRA is sending you an email from a Gmail address, that's a pretty good idea that it's not an official request. And the last part, and really one of the most important points that I like to bring up, is only invest in what you know. If you don't fully understand what you're sending money for or investing in, stop it. One of the big things I see, and the most prevalent form of online fraud, is cryptocurrency. And having people that don't have a full understanding of cryptocurrency, investing in it, setting up an account, and sending money to a wallet of a stranger under the guise of investment. So if you don't fully understand cryptocurrency, take the time to learn about it, but don't feel pressure into investing or sending money right away. The next one is secure. This one was covered pretty well in the previous presentation, but like I said, I'll just go and reiterate a couple of things. passwords. Never share your passwords with anyone. Legitimate organizations will not ask for them. Again, using the bank example or a cryptocurrency exchange, they will not ask for your password. They don't want to know your password, and they will never request it. Instead, if you're dealing with someone and they ask for your password, or they send you a link, and this is another one I see quite commonly, where you'll get a link to an email address and you'll say, okay, send me that one-time code that you used to sign in. Don't do that either, okay? And create memorable passwords. When you make a password, I know this is my problem, is that I want to make a strong password, but I also want to be able to remember it and not take me 10 minutes to put in, but it's very important. Use passwords that have upper, lowercase letters, symbols, and numbers all mixed together, because it makes it infinitely harder for people that are trying to break into your accounts to do so if your password is complex. This is another big one I see. Don't allow people to remotely access your device. A lot of these cryptocurrency scams, particularly ones targeting seniors, will have an element of a very helpful person that really just wants you to get in on this investment that's going to gain 12,000% in 2 weeks, and you got to do it now, so let me help you sign up for an account. And what they'll do is they'll ask for you to install software such as AnyDesk, which is a means of them to remotely access your computer, in most cases from the other side of the world, and take full control over it. And that is something that we do not want to do. There is no need for people to do that. They'll say, oh, I'm going to help you set up an account, but really it becomes both a cybersecurity problem as well as an investment fraud problem, because now they have access to your cryptocurrency accounts. And prevention, don't click on unknown links. The final phase is communicate. And again, following this trend of thinking before you respond. Communicate with family or trusted people. If you have concerns about someone who's approached you with an investment, or if you have concerns about that grandchild that might have been arrested somewhere, talk to your friends or other trusted people in your social network. Okay, ask them, bounce off ideas and possible downsides of investments with people that you trust. And share experiences. Discuss your online experiences or suspected scams with your peer group, like this group here, so that other friends and family might not fall victim to the same things or have the opportunity to learn and prevent from falling into an online scam. The final part is to communicate honestly. Fraudsters will try and convince you to lie. If they want you to send money, by wire transfer from a bank to another account, and you go into a bank and you say, hello, I'd like to send $10,000 over here, the bank's probably going to have some questions. They're going to want to know if you know this person. They're going to want to verify that you have all the information about this investment. And the most important thing is to tell the truth. Don't lie. The biggest red flag is if someone that you are sending money to is telling you to lie about who they're sending it to, or giving you responses that you should feed to the bank. It's a very strong indicator that it might be investment fraud. So with that simple acronym, well, it turns out not to be as simple once I break it all down, but with that ASC acronym, I hope that you will be empowered to stop, to think about things, to ask questions, to verify identities, create strong passwords, and communicate. Is there any questions? No? Wonderful.
Question.
Yes.
So, I saw the advisory of Alberta Securities Commission about BG wealth
Yes.
sharing. Can you give us more information on that?
Absolutely, I'd be very happy to. Yes, I was very involved in this, and it is quite a prolific scam. Yeah, so who here has heard of it? Who's heard of BG Wealth? Do you mind raising your hands? Yeah, it was very, very prevalent. Yes.
Trying to convince me to join.
Yes. Yes, we did find that it very much impacted seniors. And I think one of the things that was particularly effective for the scam, but very much a negative for the community, was the fact that it was spread by word of mouth. People were interested in investing, and the thing is that when it follows sort of a multi-level marketing scheme, and there were Ponzi elements of it too, basically what happens is the people get into the beginning, and they recruit friends and family. They're allowed to withdraw more money, and when they can take money out, it becomes proof to some people that it works. I'll move here, make sure I'm hearing myself. Oh, there, I'll come up here. There we go, that's better. And so that element, that multi-level marketing element of it, the proof coming from friends and family was very enticing. And it's very difficult to convince people that are involved when they see people withdrawing money, they see people getting cryptocurrency out, that it's a scam. And ultimately, of course, as we know, it did fall apart towards the end of April, and a number of people that had significant investments were unable to withdraw their money. So it was a very, very devastating scam, and it was worldwide. Yes.
How do you recognize fraudulent emails?
How do you recognize fraudulent emails? Well, I think that really depends, I guess, is my answer, and I think maybe our cybersecurity colleagues might have some more information. But what I generally like to advise, if someone's claiming to be from, and again, I'm picking on TD Bank, so let's say Scotiabank, hey, your account's been compromised, we need you to call us, we need you to send your password. But that email isn't coming from a scotiabank.com or rbc.com website, it's coming from RBC123, or there's rbbc.com, things like that. When there's little variations, then my suggestion is always to just, again, to pause and to think, well, if A, do I bank with Scotiabank or RBC? And if no, then delete it. But of course, if it is your bank, then think, okay, well, now they're reaching out to me by email, go to the bank. Exactly, someone said go to the bank. Or go look at the back of your debit card and call the number that's on the back. Reach out through official channels, right? Because emails can be spoofed, they can pretend to be anyone, but it's much harder when you're calling Scotiabank or RBC or TD Bank's 1-800 number where you're going into a branch. So that would be my advice there.
Thank you.
No problem.
Is it risky to use same password on different business activity?
Absolutely. I would very much discourage against that. And the reason why, which again I think my cybersecurity colleagues in the room might be able to elaborate on, is because there's always breaches. Accounts, websites can be hacked, people's information, customer information can be taken, and that information can be put out there online. Now all of a sudden, if you use the same email and the same password to log into, let's pick a different bank, HSBC Bank, and you also have that same password to log into your Canadian Revenue Agency account, then they can make that connection. Because if there is an email address and a password, people will try that email address on every single account that's out there. Or if more than one's been breached and they see that email associated to a password on multiple different data breaches, then all of a sudden they have a pattern. So, I mean, it's happened to me. I was alerted that my information from a data breach was leaked online, and of course I had the same password for, I'll just say my Amazon account. And all of a sudden someone's trying to log into my Amazon, or they did. And Amazon's like, well, Cal, we know you live in Canada, so someone on the other side of the world is trying to log into your Amazon account, that's probably not you, right? I'm like, nope, that's not me. So then they're like, okay, change your password. But not every company will have the resources to do that. So it is important to use different passwords for everything. Yes.
So as a security commissioner, investigator, how do you prove to those that have already been scammed? How can you investigate that?
How do I prove?
Like, can you investigate on a certain person who has been scammed, and is there a way that you can reach out to the scammers? Like, how do you?
Yeah, again, that's a very good question, and it's a very much another it sort of depends question. When I'll use the topic of online fraud again with cryptocurrency elements as another example. We'll have people that'll reach out to us that say, I've sent money over here to this website and I'm having trouble withdrawing. Or they're saying, I've made all this money, I made 12,000% in 2 months, but now when I go to withdraw it, they're saying I need to send them another 12% of that account balance to pay it out, just like in BG Wealth Sharing. Well, to me, that's a very significant red flag. And in the case of cryptocurrency, the Alberta Securities Commission has the capabilities to look at the wallet address, say, someone sent money to this wallet address, and then in the case, again, of BG Wealth Sharing and other related scams, I can look at that wallet address and I can say, you know what, that money is poof, it's disappeared. It's been moved around in fashion similar to money laundering, it's been moved off network and it's disappeared. Well, that's not necessarily the pattern we see with legitimate cryptocurrency exchanges. Like if you send money to someone or cryptocurrency to someone who is going to trade it or invest it on your behalf, then I would see that wallet address, I would see it move to a platform, I would see it traded, and I would have all the evidence of an actual investment going on. But in a lot of cases, these online fraud and cryptocurrency scams are really just a new twist on an old fraud called an advance fee scam, which is basically someone says, hey, send me $10,000, I have this business, and then in a year you'll get $15,000 back. All of that is now, become much easier because people can reach out online anonymously. You can see ads on Facebook, on Google for scam companies, and you can invest right away, and that money's gone. It's never invested, and they'll lure you in. They'll say, look, you made all this money, we're showing you this, but of course you can't withdraw it. So it really depends, but in a lot of cases, in the case of online fraud, it does become, with the tools that we have, and the ability to analyze blockchain transactions, wire transfers, and so forth, it does get a bit easier to see that pattern emerging. And of course, what we at the ASC do is it really depends on sort of the nature of the fraud and the tools that we have available to address that. So
it's easy to see the pattern, but it's hard for you to investigate if that has been going on.
I'm not sure I quite understand. We do carry out investigations, yes. One thing that I will say is that the ASC is not able to recover cryptocurrency in a lot of cases because cryptocurrency is designed to be what we call kind of immutable. So once that transaction is made, if that money goes to a jurisdiction that's not responsive to Canadian law enforcement, to Canadian law, then unfortunately we don't have a tremendous amount of recourse. And that's the same thing we're seeing in Canada, same thing we're dealing with North America wide, down in the US. Multiple billions of dollars have been lost to these online scams. Some of them, they call them pig butchering. There's lots of terms for it, but it really boils down to the same issue. And it is very difficult to investigate because when we deal with multiple jurisdictions around the world, some of whom have the rule of law and some of whom don't, it becomes increasingly difficult. But we will investigate and we will take all the action that we can for people that have been victims of scams.
So these ones really, it does not have the reciprocity with other countries. Like if this money has already gone to Thailand or wherever, there is no reciprocity in the sense of security.
Yes,
Because
it
you
is a
cannot go
lot.
through the investigation. Once it's lost, right?
In a lot of cases, I would never, sort of give an absolute yes or no to that question because there is lots of factors that influence it, but it does make it infinitely more difficult, and that's why these scam centers, and most of the online fraud we see do originate from a handful of countries. That's why we see them proliferating and growing there, because there isn't that rule of law. I mean, Myanmar is a prime example. There's lots of videos and journalists that have gone and seen these massive compounds, these scam centers, that do this on an industrial scale, and that's what makes it so hard. And that's what we, the ASC, our Canadian Securities Administrators colleagues, and sort of the more broader international efforts are dealing with. And it is very challenging, so yeah. Is there any other questions? Oh, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
I'd like to share my experience regarding this scam, the targeted seniors. I work at Canada Post, and Canada Post has this MoneyGram service, right? So when I was working, seniors, really several of them, not in separate occasions, but coming as couple, they received a notice, a message, an email from Canada Post, CRA, and saying that, in 3 days you have to pay this much because we will be in jail. Someone will knock on our door and seize our, I said, Mom, you don't believe this kind of thing. But some seniors really, they get angry at us as customer service at the Canada Post processing MoneyGram service. And if you don't cater to the service of that seniors, I'll report you to the virtual manager or to the, I said, Ma'am, because I went for training with Canada Post, deciphering whether it's a legit transactions or a legit messages, but I said, CRA or Canada Revenue will not send you a text message that you owe them this much, and within 3 days someone will knock on your door to put you in jail. So I know here, seniors, I know them, I know they are. But there are cases when I was working with Canada Post. That was 8 years ago, I'm retired. So those are the most coming seniors, you know, they hardly walk, and they don't share the issue to their children, because I'm sure children will say, this is not, but you know, seniors, when they get older, they get stubborn, right? So they don't believe you. They don't believe you that we will be in jail, we will be like this, they will pick us up, in 3 days they will knock at our door. You have to help us. I said, Mom, this is $2,000. We don't process MoneyGram with this amount.
Yeah, no,
So I said, we can't go to the bank because the bank will not allow you because they will ask you too much questions, so many information. Like me, I am asking you the same question that the bank will ask you to verify whether this is a legitimate message to you or that you have the thing. But there are a lot of seniors that they get angry. So now I'm sure that they attended here. Maybe one of these days someone will knock, you receive a message, someone will knock on your door, ignore them.
This does look like a stubborn crowd, that's for sure. Picking up on that.
That's my experience with
Please.
processing MoneyGram service.
Thank you very much for sharing. I think you bring up an interesting and excellent point, is that particularly new Canadians or Canadians that grew up in other places where law enforcement or these other sorts of organizations weren't bound by the rule of law. And there is a fear that from some people in different countries where police could show up at your door and throw you in jail for nothing. So I appreciate you sharing. Thank you very much.
We have another one right here.
Oh, sorry.
Last question.
Yes, sir.
Last two.
Oh,
Okay, worst case scenario, if someone, hopefully no one gets scammed here, worst case scenario, someone gets scammed, what's the proper steps to take to ask for help? Like, where do they go first? And where do they reach out first?
wonderful question. Thank you very much for asking. There are a number of different organizations that cover part of this online fraud landscape. And I think the first point of contact should be law enforcement in a lot of cases, particularly if the scam is ongoing. I would say making a report to your local police jurisdiction is an excellent start. And I think further along there's also another couple options. Of course, the Alberta Securities Commission being one. Not that I want to hear from you, but in those circumstances, of course. But I think it is important to say, yes, please reach out to the Alberta Securities Commission, and of course we can give some guidance on next steps. And then also the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. And that's sort of the federal repository for all these online scams, for all that information, because they're looking more globally at trends and seeing points where they can interdict and make a difference. But yeah, so I would say law enforcement, Alberta Securities Commission, and the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre would be the 3 stops that I would recommend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Cal Campbell. So we'd like to invite Mr. Campbell to proceed to the stage, to the front, yes, because we'd like to award a certificate of appreciation from the Honorable Consul General Emma Sarnet. So the certificate is being handed over by Ms. Diane Montesilio together with our token.
So this certificate of appreciation is proudly presented to Mr. Cal Campbell in recognition of his invaluable contribution as resource speaker for the Quick Connect Protect Digital Literacy Lab for seniors, safe, inclusive, and secure digital empowerment for migrant seniors and families. Held at the Philippine Consulate General to Calgary, Alberta on 10 June 2026, given this 10th day of June 2026 by Consul General Emma Sarnet. Of course, we have a little token of appreciation as well from the Philippines.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yan. Maraming salamat and thank you very much, Mr. Campbell. So if you want to report, there's checkfirst.ca. That's affiliated with the Alberta Securities Commission if you want to report something, and of course your local police. So I know it's a very heavy topic and it can be very emotionally triggering. So to help us manage our emotions, especially those who actually experience being victims of scams, we'd like to call someone who's also an expert in managing our mental health. So let's put our hands together for none other than Coach Len Zuniga for our mental health week.
Thank you very much. You're probably stressed now. Can I ask everyone to stand up, please? Let's go stand up. I'm not going to use the computer, by the way. I'm just going to use myself and my energy. Everybody, and Mix is just passing on some papers. Everybody, can you just raise your hands? Okay.
Okay, shake, shake, shake. How are you feeling today? Are you stressed already? Okay. Who does Tai Chi over here? Okay. Let's go raise our hand. Tap, tap, tap on the side. Everybody knows this. Okay. I'm also going to be a senior. Okay, the other hand. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Oh, I know. Tap at the front. I don't know if you do this. Who does this one? Ngayon, I'm gonna ask you guys to do something. I hope you can go back, okay? Okay, go to the side. Everybody's side. And then up. And then side again. Can you do a little bit of backwards? Watch the back. Oh gosh. Okay, front. A little bit. May mga dancer tayo dito. I know they can do it. Okay, shake, shake, shake. Shake on the side. And can you remain standing while I am here? Some of my friend makes place some cards in the table. So, but I want to read this first card. This one. Ate, can you read it? My glasses na.
Not your comfort zone. What is that? Growth.
Ang hirap kasi ng fonts, ano? Okay, ate, thank you, ate. Ate Agnes, can you read it?
Reminder to self, growth zone is not your comfort zone.
Okay. Do we understand what that means? Ate, do you know what it means? Do you want to share?
Ang sabi natin dyan, kasi ang hirap talaga ng internet. I even literally brought my friend's book over here. I don't know if you have a copy of this one. My friend wrote this one, Old But Gold. And she wrote something about technology. That's why I have it here. Ate Agnes, what does that mean?
Growth zone is not your comfort zone. When you feel comfortable, you don't grow.
Do you agree?
Yes.
Uncomfortable nga tumayo. Uncomfortable pa ang mga telepono natin. But are we growing today? Okay, give yourself a tap at your shoulder. I am doing great today. Si Ate Agnes, pwede nang umupo at saka si Tita, upo ka na. Naku, mayroon ka pang isang card. Pwede, upo ka na po, pero bigyan na natin yan kay Kuya. Okay, Kuya Daniel, can you read this one? May assistant talaga, ganyan talaga ang mga partner na. Oh, laging ganyan din ang buhay ko. Sige nga ate, pakibasa mo nga yung nakalagay dyan.
Take tax breaks. No screens moment, i.e. dinner time.
Okay, now, I actually placed some cards with you. So sabi nung number 2 natin, number 2C, merong isang mahabang card dyan, ang nakalagay number 2. Kanino po kaya napunta yung mahaba na number 2? Ang topic natin, ate, pakibasa mo nga yan.
Protecting your body and mind online.
Protecting your body and mind online. So let's hit the dopamine today instead of being stressed. Ang hirap naman ng technology, palit password. One of the ways is to do this one, di ba? Sabi ganun, can you read it again, Ate Evelyn?
Take tech breaks. No screens moment, i.e. dinner time.
Okay, take tech breaks. Di ba, nangungulekta ba kayo ng telepono pag dinner time? Kasi nagdi-dinner na kayo kasama ng mga apo, telepono pa rin ang kasama, hindi po ba? We can make some rules, put all the phones away. That would be your tech break so that they can communicate with you eye to eye. Pwede na umupo si Ate Evelyn at saka si Ate... Di naman nagbasa, paupuin ko ba to? Ate, upo ka na. Mahigpit si Coach Len, ano? By the way, what I do, I'm a pwede akong sumayaw, di ba? Sabi ganun. I'm a life coach, by the way. So some of the things that I do, I help people transition in their lives, with their careers and all that. Yung presidente namin ng Liga sa Seniors nandito, si Kuya Bong. Kuya Bong, wala kang hawak na card dyan, ano? Do you have a turuan na naman? Wala kayong sekretary kasi nandito na si Tita Jovi. So Kuya Bong, what do you have over there?
You're not behind, you're learning.
Wow, can we all say that? You're not behind, you are learning. Okay, upo na Kuya Bong. Ang bilis naman ni Kuya Bong. Kuya, hindi ka makakaupo, hindi ka nagbasa. Okay, ate, can you read this one? V.
Digital connection as a wellness tool.
Do you believe in that?
Digital connection as a wellness tool.
Do you think it can be a wellness tool?
Can be if you know how to use it.
Absolutely. That's why today we are learning how to make use of technology to our advantage, not to our disadvantage, and not to stress us. Do you agree, Erwin? Okay, you can sit down now. All right. Ate, you don't have a card, Ate Ana. But what did you learn today? Oy, give me one. Wag naman kasi yung pagkain natin lalamig na. Isa lang, ate, just give me one. What did you learn about yourself today in terms of technology?
Oh, I can always learn. It doesn't stop.
I am always willing to learn. No more BLG. Upo ka dito. Hindi ko alam kung sumali ka sa BLG. Upo ka na po. Oh my goodness. And I want to tell you a little bit of that. But who has number 1A? Okay, go girl. 1A.
Staying in touch. Video call, messaging, photos.
Yes, video call. Do you do that with family?
Oh, yeah.
That is going to help you with your digital wellness. Video call, family updates. My mom, who is 90 years old, oh my goodness, she comments in everything. Right? She's very smart with iPad. Pero pag sinabi ko mawala kang video, saan ba yung video? Hindi niya alam pindutin. Thank you very much, Ate. You can go sit down. Who has the 1B? We're almost done. Who has the 1B? Oh, go ahead, girl, Ben.
Accessing healthcare, view test results.
Yes. How many of you have actually created an AHS account? I just recently did that. So I went for my lab test, and the people at the lab test at the laboratory said, "Ooh, you are cool because you can access." Because sometimes you don't know where your AHS card is, but you can download that one, and it has your information. Don't share it with people, okay, that you don't trust. Okay, thank you very much, Ate. Pwede na ba natin paupuin si Kuya? Teka muna, hindi pa kita ina-approve. Kuya, what did you learn today?
A lot of things.
Give me one.
Like security and scam. How to avoid scamming. Try to you should know what is scam and if it's real.
Yes.
Real email or yeah.
Pag niyaya ka ng kaibigan mo dahil kumpare kaibigan, sumali ka dito, anong gagawin mo? You say no, and tanong nyo muna kay ate, no? Go ba tayo dito or no? Thank you very much. I asked that question because I did have some best friends who asked me to join that thing. My goodness, kalimutan na natin ang pagkakaibigan natin, but I know what I believe in and I did my research. It's not easy, did Agnes what you say. It's not easy to say no if that's your friends, that's a Filipino culture. But excuse me, that's your money, it's not their money. So be smart about it. I know relationships are very important, but friends pa rin naman kami ngayon, pero hindi na namin pinag-usapan yung tungkol doon. Ano? Ate Eva, meron ka bang papel dyan? What do you have?
Something new, one step at a time.
Something new, one step at a time. What did you learn today? One step at a time. What is one thing that you've learned you're gonna start doing?
I've learned how to filter your calls.
Absolutely, block calls, don't pick up, right? So, thank you very much, Ate Eva. All right, who has 1C? I think there's still 1C. Go ahead, girl.
Enjoyment and learning.
music, exercise,
Yeah. Yeah. Who listens to music here? So who knows how to use Spotify or YouTube? Right on, right? So that's perfect. Okay, upo ka na ate. Ito si Kuya, nag-iisa ka. Kuya, hindi ko mabasa yung pangalan mo. Sino ko? Rene. Kuya Rene, what did you learn today? Sabi na, ang dami. Kahit pangalan na lang, pwede yung pangalan ng katabi mo.
Invest in something that you do not know.
Totoo, do not imagine ang retirement money natin, pinaghirapan po natin. Ipamigay mo ba dahil nahiya ka dun sa kaibigan mo? That is so wrong. Okay, thank you, Kuya Rene. We're almost done. Let's go to 2-1. Number 2 and then A yata yun, o 2-1. Who has that card?
2A.
Anyone? 2A, go ahead, girl.
Move your body.
Oh, move your body. Can we do a sample? Yeah? So that when you're stressed, anong sabi natin kanina, 20-30 minutes, get off the computer. Right? Alis po kayo doon. Meron po akong uncle, guilty ako. Yung uncle ko talagang parang kulang lang matulog sa tabi ng iPad. Uncle, lumakad ka naman, sige, bitbitin mo, pero lumakad ka, put your iPad down. Move your body. That really helps. Like there's technology and there's music. Move your body. Thank you very much, ate. Is that 2A?
Yes.
Okay, have a seat. Who has 2B? Okay, go. Uy, makaupo ka na, ate. What does it say?
Protect your mood.
Protect your mood. What do you think that means?
You have to manage your news and social media.
Tignan mo, nakikinig yung telepono natin, sumasagot si Google. Sorry about that. Alright, ulitin mo, ate. Pakailamero si Google at si AI.
You have to manage your news and social media.
I agree 100%. How many of you listen to the news every day? Oh my goodness. When do you listen to the news? In the morning, kaya sirap na yung araw ninyo. Who listens to the news in the evening? Oh my goodness, kuya, no. I started to change my timing of listening to the news. And while social media sometimes is fun, no, you decide what to look for and what to listen for. Yun ang ibig sabihin nun. Kung madedepress ka dyan at mag-iingit-inggitan at drama, no, please don't use social media. Thank you very much, Ate Sylvia. What is that? Is that 2A or 2B? Where's 2C? Okay, well, we read 2C already. Take a break. Who else hasn't read the card? Yes, I think that card, we haven't read that one. Can we read that card, my friend? Sorry. Yeah, Don. Can you read it, Don? Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. There's a secretary. Go ahead.
Something new, one step at a time.
Oh, yeah, something new, one step at a time. Did we miss a card? All right, we have some more people. Ate, what did you learn today?
I just learned how to scan the barcode.
Oh, barcode? Okay, hindi pupunta sa bar, ha? QR code, barcode. Thank you, ate. Kuya, what did you learn today? Go read that one, read that one.
And that is good for your brain and your confidence.
Good for your brain and your confidence. I'm almost done. So, one of the most important things I strongly suggest for everybody, even my brother who's not even 60 years old, I was telling him to read something easy. He said, alam mo naman nung bata pa tayo, hindi ako mahilig magbasa. What happens if you don't read and don't listen? What happens to the brain? Oh my goodness! You forget names, you forget your keys, you forget a lot of things. Alright? In relation to that, I want to invite you guys next week. There's another session, which is a free session. We will talk about dementia. Talk to me. I have a guest speaker. This is funded. This is free. My merienda. It's on June 19 at the community-wise. We will talk about dementia. So, use the brain. Thank you very much, Kuya. Or is there anyone else? Ay, Tita Jovi. What did you learn today? Wala kang excuse, ha? Lots of things. Give me one. Open the email. Yes. Thank you very much, Tita Jovi. Right, so maraming salamat po. I hope you guys enjoyed today's session, and I'm gonna turn over the floor to Madam Viva.
Maraming salamat po, Coach Len. Did you have fun po? Yes. Okay, so let's not forget our lessons. But we also have another speaker who will share something that's very, very important for all of us to learn. So on the topic of cybersecurity awareness, let's put our hands together for Miss Eunice Brown.
Magandang hapon po, magandang gabi, ano ba yan? Good evening. Yeah, sinong gutom na? Gutom na silang lahat. So, bibilisan ko na po yung topic ko, no? We'll try. So yes, again, thank you so much, Ms. Vida and Consul Jen for the invitation for this event. We're very happy to support the community and our senior citizens. So I'm from Max IT po, one of IT and cybersecurity consulting company dito sa Calgary and owned by Filipina po. So I'm very proud that we're able to actually support in tech here in Calgary, and we do a lot of cybersecurity and a lot of IT works dito po sa Calgary. And about me po, I've been in IT and cybersecurity for the last 20 years and been helping different companies all the way from the Philippines to Dubai to dito na rin po sa Canada. So for today po, ang goal namin is to help build awareness and to help you guys stay safe and feel confident kapag nasa internet, diba? I think a lot of what I'm gonna cover was actually being covered already by Mr. Cal from ACS, and that was a really good presentation. So I'll just top it up a little bit more and connect with Miss Dina's presentation, kung ano yung natutunan natin kanina about digital literacy. So connect ko lang kung paano kayo magiging safe and secure kapag ka nasa internet. So natutunan natin about digital literacy, yung pag-browse ng internet, the government services online, Miss Dina covered that. Yung pag-check ng email, Miss Jovi said, natuto siyang mag-check ng email, QR codes, and yung smartphones po natin. So it looks like by now, ano na kayo, mga expert na kayo. So now that we know how to be expert and how to use our technology for day-to-day, at least a little bit, right? Sabi nga po ni Miss Dina, keep practicing, diba? So we'll practice naman dun sa side ng pagiging safe pagka ginagamit nyo itong mga technology na to. So maraming gamit ng internet, di lang yung mga natutunan natin kanina, actually marami pa, diba? We watch movies, may mga Netflix, diba? Mga different apps na mga services na sinasabi ni Miss Dina kanina sa smartphones. Pwede kayong mag-shop, di nyo na kailangan pumunta ng mall. Kasi pwede na kayong mag-shop through your phone, diba? Or yung laptop nyo. And you can connect. So, bakit kailangan natin matutunan na maging cyber-aware? So, kailangan natin matutunan to kasi kung hindi natin alam, maniniwala kayo, diba? Kaya yung sinabi kanina nung ni Mr. Cal, na kapag hindi nyo alam yung about dun sa scam, well, maniniwala kayo kasi parang totoo naman, diba? So, kailangan laging nagkukwento, laging sinasabi yung mga nangyayari, and para matuto rin kayo dun sa ibang tao. Pero dapat yung tao na may tiwala kayo. It should be a trusted person. So, and yung scam is not really, and hindi po siya kahiya-hiya. Like, I don't want you guys to feel na kapag na-scam kayo o nakakahiya. Like, we actually have to share it. And I'll tell you why na it's not only certain people. I'll tell you my experience din po, kaya naging maano yung loob ko to learn a lot about cybersecurity. So as I've said, I've been in the industry for 20 years. So in the early 2010s, I was already an IT manager. You know, you would think I know a lot about the computer, right? Yung kung ano yung mga nangyayari. And I thought I do. Until nag-start kami ng asawa ko na mag-invest sa real estate. So we got a new house that we're renting. Nagpaparent kami, and I got into so anyway, yung app to have the rent faster. So I was there, and you know, a lot of people are trying to like rent, and there was this one guy that was trying to rent our place, and of course I was just new in this app, right, in this world actually, and the guy was like, you know, oh, I want to rent, but I'm coming from the US. He has a really great story. You know, I work for the government and we're gonna rent your place. And I was like, wow, cool. So, you know, I was engaging with the guy. My husband was like, well, we need to rent the place, just get it done, right? But he was too good to be true. Like, I already have that gut feeling, right? Like, you guys know that when somebody's talking to you, you feel like there's something. So I was like, okay, sure. So I asked for the ID, I asked for the work of place, everything he provided to me. Like there's this ID from the US and everything was looking good. And I was like, hindi pa rin eh. So sabi ko, okay. So sabi niya, we're gonna rent, we'll send you money, sinend niya yung money. Sabi ko, pagka dumating na yung check eh, then I will believe because he said he's gonna send the check, right? He sent the check, I received it from the mail. I did not give our address. I gave the address of the rental. And in like a week, I received the check. It's like, it's real. It's the bank. So I was like, but it doesn't feel good. And guess what? So I was like, okay, so maybe it is real. And I went to the bank and I was like, there's really is something. Went to the bank and the bank, the person is like, the teller. I was like, can you please just check because it doesn't, I don't know if it's a fake check or not. And she checked the check and she said, yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything wrong about it. And then she used the tool and right there, it is it's a fake check, right? And then I received an email from the guy saying that, hey, so my company has actually sent you over 500. So I actually noticed that already because to say the rent was like 5,000, he sent 5,500 on the check. So he sent me an email saying that, hey, could you send back the money through Western Union because they oversent the 500. So there, gotcha. That was the scam. So if I actually did not go to the bank first and get a check, send the money, now I just lost my 500. And if you think about it, I was an IT manager at that time. I have like people under me. You would think I know what I'm doing. But still, when you are online, pagkabago po tayo sa online, di ba, maraming mga pangyayari na it's brand new. So kailangan yung kinukwento rin natin. Kasi ito nangyari to sa akin, 2 buwan, talagang may modus operandi sila para lang makakuha sila ng pera. Hindi siya nangyari na overnight lang. Talagang totoo yung, di ba? So operational talaga sa kanila. So anyway, so kailangan na matuto tayo pagka nasa online na tayo. So ang question dito na gusto kong itanong is, di ba yung for us to learn, the internet and the cyber awareness is the same as yung mag-trust tayo sa ibang tao pagka nasa online tayo. It's the same as the question of if somebody is knocking on your door, would you open the door right away? Hindi, diba? So ganun din po siya pagka nasa internet tayo. So sabi nga ni Cal kanina, ginamit niya yung ASC sa atin, so stop, think, and again, verify. So I think I don't have to go through this kasi na-cover na siya ni Cal. So ang i-reiterate ko lang is around the internet. So pagka nasa internet tayo, we talk about password. So ang idadagdag ko lang po, asan na yung phone ko? Miss Vida, sorry. So don't use password. Kanina may nagtanong po sa akin kung paano daw na-hack yung bangko ng kaibigan niya na nag-click lang sa link. So paano na-hack yung bangko? There's possibility, and again, there's many possibilities, na nag-click siya ng link, and then yung link na go sa email address, na yung hacker is basically winawatch niya sa likod. Pagka-enter niyo ng password niyo, nakuha niya yung password ng email niyo. So anong ginagamit niyo sa bangko to verify yung account ng bangko niyo? Email address nyo. So, meron na silang email, tapos nakuha na rin nila yung password kasi in-enter nyo nung nag-click kayo ng link, diba? So, pagdating dun sa bangko, ginamit din yung the same password. So, if you're using the same password sa mga bank accounts nyo, that's not safe. And if you're using a very basic na password, gaya nung name nyo or last name nyo, dinagdagan nyo lang ng 1, 2, 3, 4, or maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 exclamation point, diba? So, ang rule na ngayon is the longer it is and the more characters that you use is better. So, ano yung magandang advice namin dito is use a password manager. Anyone knows password manager po? So, on your phone, actually, if you're an iPhone user or even Samsung Android user, there's a password So you guys can use that po para hindi na kayo nagme-memorize ng password. 'Di ba? Kasi pagka ginamit nyo yan, ang ginagawa niya, nag-create siya ng mas strong na password. So that's one tool na you guys can use para hindi kayo gumagamit ng madaling matandaan na password. Okay? Private information. So we talk about yung email natin, we go to the bank, we verify like with yung password, pag-create ng email. Mag-ingat lang po tayo dun sa ine-enter natin ng mga information and make sure na yung mga information, not too much information. So kunyari may mga forms kayo na fini-fill upan online. If it's the government, if it's the PCG, definitely kasi di ba kailangan nila. But kunyari may mga survey lang, tas ang dami nilang tinatanong, di ba tinatanong lahat na ng information. Kung walang asterisk, huwag nyo na lang sagutan. So just so hindi nyo na lang ina-add yung mga information nyo online. Kasi the more that you give out, kasi nga yung tanong kanina, di ba, pagka may kumatok sa bahay, bubuksan nyo ba yung pinto? Pag kinausap kayo, ibibigay nyo ba lahat ng information? Hindi, di ba, kung ano lang yung kailangan, yun lang yung ibibigay natin. And again, so private information, keep it to yourself. If kailangan dun sa nilalagingan nyo, then provide it, but only the most the least information that you need to provide. And never share password, never share yung banking information. OTP, very known po sa Philippines, di ba ngayon? Kasi may nagte-text and then tatawag, may tumawag bigla. Technical support, kailangan po natin yung 4-digit code na sinend namin sa phone nyo. Di nyo alam yung OTP na yon para dun sa bangko nyo. Tapos binigay naman ni Lolo at ni Lola. So ngayon, nakapasok sila dun sa bangko kasi binigay nyo yung OTP. So ingat din about yung pag-share ng OTP. OTP is one-time password, yung ibig sabihin ng OTP. So ayun yung, so narinig na po ba natin yung MFA? Di ba laging sinasabi, kailangan ng MFA, multi-factor authentication. Ang ibig sabihin po niyan, vini-verify nila kayo ng hindi lang isang beses. So kasi ang unang verification is yung password nyo. Madalas, ang pinakamadaling ma-hack is yung password. So ngayon, kailangan ng another verification. So ang i-check nila, pwede nilang i-check ng sa cellphone number nyo, isi-send nila yung OTP. So para ma-verify nyo na, ako talaga yan. So nag-login ako ng password ko, tinanong ako that I have something, so nasa phone ko. So ibig sabihin, ako po talaga yan, diba, na-verify. Or sometimes yung authenticator, may gumagamit po ba kayo ng authenticator? Yeah, so the same way din po yan ng OTP. Ang pinaka-safe is to use yung authenticator kesa sa SMS. Kasi pag minsan po, I don't know if you heard about yung SIM swapping. May mga technique na rin po yung mga hacker to actually own yung phone number nyo. So kung talagang ang target nila yung bangko nyo, pwede nilang gamitin yung phone number nyo para mag-SIM swap and yung OTP na sisend na sa another telephone instead na sa phone nyo. So ang pinaka-safe is to use yung authenticator. Okay? Free Wi-Fi. I think somebody has asked earlier, should we use free Wi-Fi? Please be careful po about sa free Wi-Fi. Hindi lahat ng free safe. Diba? So yung free Wi-Fi po, ibig sabihin niya, dahil walang protection, lahat ng nakakonect doon, pwedeng, especially kung may bank transaction kayo. So dun sa world po namin, sa cybersecurity, yung network na kinokonektahan nyo, may tool kami na pwede namin makita na kapag walang encryption, especially sa mga free Wi-Fi, kasi lahat ng kumukonekta doon, nakikita namin lahat ng mga transaction doon sa tool na ginagamit namin. So, pagka nasa bangko kayo or sa email nyo, lalo na sa mga unsafe na, yung hindi secure na mga email, tsaka bangko, pagka-enter nyo ng password nyo, kita namin yan. Kita ng mga hacker yan. And it's very easy sa mga free Wi-Fi. So, mag-ingat po sa free Wi-Fi. Ano yung ibig sabihin ng free Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi na walang password. So, make sure even your Wi-Fi at home, make sure that it's always with password. Secure siya kasi madali pong, maraming mga hackers, ang ginagawa nila actually, naglilibot sila, kumonect sila sa mga Wi-Fi's na hindi secure, and they plant something dun sa network. And it's the same thing is, minomonitor nila yung lahat ng mga transactions nyo. So, even yung transaction nyo, nakala nyo nasa bahay lang kayo, sarili yung Wi-Fi, pwede pa rin ma-hack. Nakikita nila lahat ng, activities nyo.
Does that mean that we shouldn't be using the Wi-Fi here because it's low security?
Oh, we're here at BCG?
Good question. That's a good question.
It has a password. It's okay. Yeah. So as long as there's password, at least it's a secure connection. Unless it becomes, too public. But I think when we're here, it's only for the people that are here, unless they open it up to the public, right? Then there might be some rogue person amongst us, FTP, that may be using a tool or hacking us. The basics of going digital is also the safe use of the internet. So we want to reiterate the use of yung pagka nasa website po tayo. So lagi nyong i-check yung HTTP and HTTPS. S meaning secure. Pagka wala po yung S na yan, ibig sabihin unsecure yung website na yan. Anong ibig sabihin nun sa world natin? Kunyari shop, yung like you're shopping, right, online. If it's not secure and then they say pay, and you click pay, and what do? You enter your credit card information. Well, you just gave that away because this is not a safe account. Everything that you're doing is basically unencrypted. It's a plain text for anyone that is monitoring this website. So make sure there's always the S on the website that you guys are going to. Miss Dina showed you guys how to go to PCGA, CalgaryPCG.ca website. How do we go to, how do we know na ito nga yung legit? So kapag ginugol nyo, di ba, ang daming result? Merong, there's Phil Congen, and then kala nyo, yung pa rin yung website, di ba? So, and most of the time, ang magandang test din dito, you guys receive an email, and it says, from Microsoft, that you need to reset your password. So maybe it's not Microsoft, it's actually letter M1 and then Microsoft, right? So meaning, hindi yun yung safe na site. So always check din po yung website. And if you're not sure, is to call, or again, yung sinabi ni Cal kanina, if it's a credit card, diba? Yung mas legit na information is in the back of your credit card. So in the same way, for Philippine Consulate General, hindi laging yung email na na-receive nyo may not be true. So always verify when you do the Google search that you really see that that's the correct website. And then maybe even call, right? Like, and make sure that that's the correct website. And I think that's very important po kasi when you're filling out the form, that's a lot of your personal information. Just imagine you're doing a passport application and then you fill out the form and then you go and you're following a website that is fake or incorrect website. So what are the common scams that we see and what do we do? So email scams, so ito po yung may tanong kanina, how do we know that it's a phish email? You receive an email from Amazon, it's from Amazon support, and it's saying, hey, you have been randomly chosen to be a recipient of free $50 Amazon gift card. Woohoo! Is it really for me? Do you even have an Amazon account? Right? So may mga question kagad. And where do we look? So most of the time, mas maganda po pagka, yung kwento ko kanina, may gut feeling kayo. So stop, think, and verify before you engage. So how to check an email? It's easier po, I will say, if you're on a laptop. Because when you have the browser open, your email open, it's easier to see all this information. On the phone, it's a little harder. If you're on the phone and you know that it doesn't feel right or it doesn't sound right, just delete it. Okay, because it's hard to check from the phone. But if you're on a laptop, you can see it says Amazon support, but you can see support at AMAZ0N instead of AMAZON. So meaning this is not really Amazon. This is another domain. And then it says, hey, right away, there's always the story of you gotta engage, you gotta do this right away. So that's very common in a phishing email. Hurry and act now, right? And then there's the QR code, and we're gonna cover the QR code. But if you actually hover over as well, alam niyo po how to hover over? So yung, ng mouse nyo, diba? Nawala na. But anyway, if I have my mouse, I'm gonna go, because it will show to hurry and act now. When you hover over this, makikita nyo yung link. Makikita nyo. And if there's a lot of characters and it doesn't look like Amazon, don't even click on it. Okay? So that's how you will identify a phish email. So what if it's a QR code? And then we did the QR code. Ano yung natutunan natin kay Miss Dina? Don't just, scan QR codes. Because it could be the same thing as phishing. So they use QR code now for phishing. So what happens is when you do the QR code, it will bring you to another website. And it's not even Amazon. Most of the time, it is just a page that's already asking for your email address or your password. For a lot of times, because they already have your email address, as soon as you do the QR code or you click the link, it goes to ask for your password. And as soon as you enter that password, they have gotten your password already. And I hope it's not the same password that you use for your bank and the other account. The reason why it's so easy to hack people is because they only use one password. And that's why it's so easy to get into your bank information, right? And what are the other things with bank? If they've gotten this, and especially po senior, madami kayong pera, di ba? Yung mga pamana nyo. So, ang target nila with seniors mostly is yung RSP ninyo, yung retirement money nyo, and yung investment ninyo. So, a lot of times nata-target kayo. How can we easily target a senior? So other than the password, other than you guys are a little bit behind in technology, we can easily make you yung maniwala, like we can easily make you trust. And then so you click the link or you did the QR code, you easily gave up your password. But even if you have a different password on your bank, I could actually still call your bank and pretend to be you. Because I can call the bank and say, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot my password today. Like, there's always there's tool that I could change my voice into an older person, right? And how can I easily change your password over the phone? I gather all your information on Facebook. My birthday, nagsagot ng survey, what's your favorite pet? What is your first school? Where did you go? Like all your information is in social media. So I could easily call the bank and pretend to be you, and they will reset your password, right? Kasi I got your information online. Kaya let's be very, very careful then about our private information. And this is the same with my mom. She's 70 years old. She has 5 accounts online because she can't remember what email was used and all of that. But also, like the full information from the Maria to Cassandra to the middle name. Like, let's limit yung information natin online. Okay? Because that's the same information that those bad guys will use against you. to tap into your bank account and get your information, and stop answering surveys online asking for your favorite pet, the name of your first pet. That's the exact same question in the bank, or even when I try and reset your password into a certain account. SMS scams, so they're all the same, right? BDO alert. Hey, you have online access is suspended, please activate it right now. Click on the link, the same thing din po yung ginagawa nila. They're just trying to get your information, most specifically yung password niyo, to get into your bank. So wag magpapaniwala lagi, like right away. So be vigilant, sabi ni Tita Lenny, relax, breathe, and think. Double check with friends and family before we engage, right? And make sure that, we follow our gut feeling. Because sometimes it actually you will have the gut feeling when it's not right. So think and verify. And as I've said, yung kwento ko, diba? IT manager ako, tapos bigla-bigla kumahak. Ang inis ko, I tried to see where the guy is, see if I could hack him back and all of that. As Kyle said, it's really, sometimes it's really impossible. Like I see the guy that was trying to scam me at that time. I saw where he's coming from. It started from the US, he jumped to somewhere in Colombia. Like they use servers that it's so hard to actually, if you don't have the right tool, it's very hard to really see where they're coming from and where they're specifically coming from. So what does this say? So what I'm saying is, kahit na IT manager ako, I could still be scammed, right? So I don't think there's shame on that. When we get scammed, just remember you're not alone, and it's okay. Okay, marami nang na scam or naging ano ba? Maraming na-victimize. So stay calm, and the best thing that we can do is call for help. Diba? Yung mga anak natin na much younger and they know technology. You don't have to carry it alone. I know marami sa mga seniors, they don't want to talk about it, and they carry it themselves and see if, and trying, especially yung generation nyo po. Yung generation nyo po na you're very okay, sorry, yeah. Especially in generation nyo po, very, resourceful, trying to figure out things, right? So you're not alone. Just ask for help. Younger generation, they're very familiar with this, and they're here to help. There was a question earlier kung paano, how can we get help? If you get scammed with the bank, first call is always your bank, right? Because you can let them know, and they're very familiar with this already. They have tools and processes right away on how they can stop it. But as soon as sinabi nyo na, I think I got scammed, they can lock down your account para ma-stop na kagad if somebody have used your credit card or been using your credit card. So anyway, yun lang po. Magte-test daw po tayo, and my price. I know everybody's hungry already. So if we let's just answer this question. If someone texts pretending to be a family member or a friend in trouble, what should you do? A, respond right away to help. It could be urgent. Or B, call the person directly or verify using a trusted method before responding. B. Good. Dapat yung may price eh. Kasi sino pala yung unang tumayo and answer, okay? So how is your family managing passwords? You use... Go ahead. B. We use a strong password, unique password for each account and store them in Password Manager. So what Password Manager po are you using?
Like Samsung.
Samsung phone. There you go. Perfect. Third question, do you have a plan if someone in family's account get hacked? A, we hope it won't happen, so we don't really have a plan. Or B, we've talked about what to do, like changing password and reporting. Of course, it's letter B. So ano po yung plan niya?
You have to talk about it and you have to discuss it.
Yeah, so let's make sure that we talk this amongst family. How do we verify if a message or link is fake? A, if it mentions a known company, or B, look at the context of the message. If it's more urgent, that is more likely as a fake. B. Miss Green. Okay, so here's our top tips to keep in mind po. Again, stop, think and verify before tayo mag-engage. Wag agad-agad. Don't give a stranger your password. Create a strong password. Use the tool on your phone. If there's suspicious website, especially if there's no S on the HTTP, don't use those passwords and don't even attempt, please. Don't use your credit card on website that doesn't have the S, the HTTPS, okay? Will you answer a random call or text? Again, let's be mindful of email and text and phone scams. Yung latest po right now, I have a 75-year-old lady phoned me at the middle of the day telling me that, she's like, Eunice, somebody from Saskatchewan phoned me and they said that they found my phone number on Facebook, that it's all over Facebook right now. And so when they phoned her, the question was, is this your phone number? Excuse me. Okay, so she received a call. The person was like, hey, we found your phone number on Facebook and it's being publicized on Facebook. Is your phone number 403-567-8566? And did she ever answer? She said, oh yes, no, that cannot be true. I've had this phone number for the last 20 years. And then they keep talking to her. They keep talking to her, right? And she kept giving information. She engaged. So my question for her, so she's like, Eunice, can you help me check my Facebook? Could you check if really my phone number is there? I'm like, okay, why would a person in Saskatchewan phone you just because your phone number is in there? Like, that's the first question. But also now, so there's a couple of things that I told her. With that engagement, because if it's not a no number, now don't even answer, right? We just learned how to block phone number, right? Block it. If they're important, they will leave you a voicemail. If it's not important, they are scammers. So there's two things that could happen there. So who knows AI? Do you guys know AI? We know AI, right? What are the other side of AI? They pretend they record your voice because they can pretend to be you. So with her engaging, there basically could be recording her voice already and could be calling in the bank and using the same voice. The other thing is she engaged. She just confirmed with those guys that, yes, that's my phone number in the last 20 years. Well, what would you think is your phone number that I could use on your bank? You just confirmed to me this is your phone number. So again, because we engage with this kind of activities, we fall in giving information. Don't give out too much information if you don't even trust the person. Okay, because those are your information. You don't want to be hacked just because of you provided too much information. Will you quickly believe from someone in Messenger? Very common po sa Facebook, somebody will message you. Are we aware of this, like Facebook family scam? Right? They're gonna message you, oh, nagkasakit po si ano, or na-aksidente, will you please send money? Oh, what do we do with our heart? Oh no. And we send money, yung pala hindi, na-hack yung account ni apo mo. Hindi sila yung kausap nyo. So again, verify first. The reason why this is all happening is, ano lang yung isang target nila, pinakamalagang target? money, yung pera nyo, di ba? So always protect those and verify before you engage. Would you connect your device to any random network? Thank you. Magandang hapon po. Thank you. Any question pa na? Okay. Ay, we're all gutom. Kala ko may gutom, sir. Sir Bob.
Over the IP address in relation to the cybersecurity.
Yes. Ano po specifically with IP address?
What's the purpose of IP address?
Wow, ang technical naman ni Sir Bo. Okay, so IP address is yun po yung address. So ano yung, I'm just thinking kung saan mabuting example ng hack yung IP address. So if you